All right, Pisces, this is an interesting combination. And I think that some of you, like, literally are activists here because you're changing the way that you perceive how people are treated. And you're changing the way that you are giving to other people. So, rebellion, upstart, tumult, and revolution, and then the lady of the gift, generosity, receiving, and withholding. Now, this did show up as an ally for you, which is beautiful with rebellion. Rebellion is talking about you following your own path now. This is like looking at the Hierophant in reverse. But with the lady of the gift, I think that for a lot of you on a personal level, it's going to be about, I'm not going to act the same way that I have before and treat everybody the same based on past experiences, right? So you're being more giving of yourself. But like I said, for some of you, it's like straight up activism here. All right, Pisces, here's your overall. The Nine of Pentacles. So independence, financial stability here, remaining independent from a situation, but still the Nine of Pentacles is perfect. You look good, but what you're focused on right now is financial security and independence. Now, in the past, you have the past. So with the Six of Cups, this could definitely be about a past situation that may be coming back through. With the Nine of Pentacles, you may feel like you're good on your own. You don't want to be involved with it. For others of you, it could be that you have a hard time letting go of a past situation and again, trying to remain independent from something. But past memories here, places you've already been. Okay. In the present, the Nine of Swords. I look at the Nine of Swords and I think, especially with the Six of Cups being in the past, for a lot of you, you may be looking back on your past actions. And some of you may be regretting some choices that you've made in the past, but like you're okay. But mentally, you may be replaying things over and over again in your mind, thinking about worst case scenarios, things like that, and just torturing yourself over what may have happened. And really it is about you needing to kind of let that go. Future conditions, the Six of Wands. Not bad. Not bad. So, moving out of that, though, what I worry about here is, with the Nine of Swords, it's like almost expecting the worst to happen, but, you look good. You look good coming out of this. With the Six of Wands, you're talking about victory here, being recognized for doing the right thing. And some of you may not have done that in the past, but you're like correcting those actions now. It's kind of like owning up to your part in what may have happened, or at least choosing not to let it affect you anymore in future conditions here with the Six of Wands. But you're doing the right thing. But you're doing the right thing for you this time. But I'm still wondering what it is about the past that's got you in this place where you're going over and over again in your mind all of the negative things that may have happened. Your best path to follow, the Eight of Pentacles, right? You're going to have to put in some hard work, effort, paying attention to detail, but it's about you. It's about you and making yourself secure in your future, right? But I look at that and I think that there needs to be more focus and attention on something else, something that you're wanting to work on. But it's specifically having to do with you. And getting to a place where you feel like you have everything that you need. In your environment, temperance. I'm getting this feeling a lot for a lot of people. The situations that you've already been through, past situations that may be coming back through, and they're all playing out in different ways. But for you, there are a lot of negative thoughts surrounding what happened. And with temperance, you're trying to get your balance here. You're trying to keep yourself in check. But I also feel like this is going to be about something that you don't want to go back to because of the thoughts surrounding it. But again, you're leading into this place where you have this victory and you're doing the right thing. And I don't necessarily think that you're worried about the recognition that comes along with that, but you could definitely have people around you saying that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. For some of you, I mean, it can be about work. It can be about a relationship, right? What are you putting your time and effort into with the Eight of Pentacles? You certainly don't want to be putting it into, you know, all of the negative thoughts surrounding what may have happened. But you're trying to find that equilibrium and that balance there with Temperance. But I also feel like you're trying to keep yourself away from a past situation. Like you don't want to be involved with it again. Your hopes and your fears, the Page of Cups. I look at that and I think in terms of you, you may be fearing getting caught up in, you know, new emotions that may be surrounding a situation from the past. You know, I look at that and I think with what you have going on here, the fear would be giving into something coming back that, you know, you already have a lot of bad thoughts surrounding. You know, but like I said, for some of you, it may be that, you know, I could have done this, I could have done that. And, you know, you can't do that to yourself. But I look at Temperance with that and I think, yeah, you don't want nothing to do with that. But looking at the Page of Cups, some of you may be hoping for some kind of communication here. But then we're also looking at, you know, the purity of emotions here. But you're still needing to find your own, like, independence and separation from this almost. And then coming out the Tower, damn man. And, you know, it's the right thing. Like, it's the right thing for you to do. Like, you need to make some drastic changes here. And I think it's going to be more shocking for other people than it is, you know, something happening here to you. I think that, you know, if you were hoping for somebody to communicate something to you with the Page of Cups and hoping that, you know, those emotions may be like returned, I think that the Tower is just basically saying that all of that is coming down now. But the fact that it's connected though to this says to me that you're going to do something drastically here to clear all that bullshit out and change everything in your life and become a little bit more independent. Especially from a past situation where emotions were involved, you know. But like I said, I look at that and I think that for a lot of you, the fear is that you're going to go back to this place where, you know, you remember those initial feelings, but with the Nine of Swords, you know, it's like, no. And I don't think that that's something that you want to be involved with again, or at least you're trying not to be involved with it. So, and I think that this is you kind of coming out of that. I don't think that you're in a place where you're not being realistic about things. I think that, you know, you are not going to be in a position where you're going to be confused anymore. Like, I really think that that's what you're trying to get away from here. Whatever fears and anxieties may be surrounding what you don't know. But I also see you, like, you know, tapping into, you know, the intuition here big time with the Moon, you know, and understanding your subconscious thoughts around this situation. Anyway, the Page of Wands with the Six of Cups absolutely can be pointing to a past situation, communication coming through, somebody who is saying all the right things here. But with Temperance and the Nine of Pentacles, it's like, you know, I had to work really hard to gain my independence. And you have to continue to work hard to keep that. I don't want to give in to this. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't know that I want to test the waters, right? And then with the Eight of Wands, it's like quickly. I think that you may be dealing with a situation where somebody has quickly changed. And this is like coming out of nowhere, I think. And I think that there may be a little bit of confusion for you as to what is going on. But with the Nine of Swords, there are a lot of hard thoughts about what happened. You know, and those thoughts are like playing out in your mind. And I think that for you, that's a huge indicator that maybe this is not something that you want to be involved with. You know, especially if you're still thinking about all of the negative things that may have happened. Now, looking at the Moon, and I love your card, I do, but you know, it is illusion, right? It's projecting unrealistic fears and anxieties onto something, but I think that that's what you're coming out of with the Tower. It's almost like you realize that the best thing for you here is to go back into your mind and the way that you're feeling about everything and clearing all of that out, right? Like, You know, when you look at the moon, they've got the two towers in there anyway, so it's like you're going straight for it and you're like, I'm tearing this motherfucker down. No. You know, I'm not going to be in this position where I'm confused about how I feel or what is going on. Why is this person changing? You know, and I definitely think that you are dealing with somebody who is not consistent with you, but they may have caused you a lot of like mental torture and pain, right? But like I said, with the Six of Wands and looking at the Nine of Pentacles, it's like it's going to be hard for you to do. And I think that for you, it's not something that normally you would do, but this is one of those situations where drastic change is called for, you know, because you don't want to be in a place again where you are confused about what is going on. That is what needs to go away here. And prosperity, yeah, you know, and you're going to be much better on your own here. I think you're going to feel, you know, better about yourself and feel like you're doing the right thing for you, because I think that's the most important thing here. The truth, right? Seeing the truth. And then once you see the truth of the situation and you accept that, it opens the door for you to create prosperity in your life. And then in the flow, everything is smooth sailing. So even though, you know, in right, the fog of the moon and not seeing things clearly, I think that you see this and you realize that, and you realize that part of yourself that, you know, may want to kind of go back into this place of where things, you know, are not reality. But it's just saying to take your time here, and with temperance, absolutely you're doing that, but everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be smooth sailing for you, even though you may be dealing with a situation that you can't see clearly right now or understand why it's happening or why it's coming back. But I do love the fact here that you're going to have, you know, the ability to create prosperity for yourself here. Even if it means that you have to make, you know, a sudden drastic change.